Hello from the brutal capitalist dictatorship of Damansar Uptown. I hope you're having an amazing day, because if you're having an amazing day, I'm having an amazing day. Yes, you hear the cry of the oppressed proletariat in their iron coffins, don't you? The honking sound of the cars, you know. Yes, if you're having an amazing day, I'm having an amazing day. Right. So my student is not here, so I'm free for the next 2 hours, right? So here I am, just doing a quick video for you guys. Basically going to give my quick commentary on the recent surprise attack, which would be a gross understatement really, that was carried out by Hamas, right? Now, for the record, you know, my solidarity as a socialist is always with the working class people of both Israel and Palestine, right? And the thing is that it's very easy for people in this conflict to basically get, so to speak, lost in the sauce. That is to say, it's very easy for people to end up, you know, falling into the trap of anti-Semitism, or falling into the trap of Orientalism or hatred for Arabs, right? But I just have to say that the primary victim of this conflict, the people who will suffer most of all, are really the working class people of Gaza in Palestine, followed by the working class people of the West Bank, and then the working class people of Israel, right? So fundamentally, our solidarity should not be with the leaders of either side, but with the working class of the most oppressed group of all, the people in Gaza. Now, there are many people in the Western media saying that this attack by Hamas was indeed an unprovoked attack that was basically launched due to a feeling of intense anti-Semitism on their part, because fundamentally they don't want Jews in the land. And that's a very, very popular narrative you hear in the American media. So 3 days ago, members of the jihadi militant group Hamas stormed an Israeli settlement, killing at least 1,200 Israelis, wounding a further 2,000 over Israelis, and taking a further few hundred Israelis captive in order to serve as ransom for future deals, if one may call them deals, with the government of Israel. Not surprisingly, the entire Western world is in a collective furore over this. I can't think of a single Western leader who has not pledged to give every single fiber of his or her being to support Israel, right? So, understandably, many people are very, very upset and appalled. I'm upset and appalled at the loss of innocent lives as well, and I want to make it clear that I have never, ever been a sympathizer of Hamas, right? Now, I'm not a sympathizer of the Israeli government by any stretch of the imagination. I think they are a nasty, far right-wing, theocratic government, posing as a liberal democracy, right? But the fact of the matter is that what's happening is basically you have the entire Western world basically having its eyes on Israel and Palestine. And not only in the Western world, even people in the Eastern world also end up conflating Hamas with the people of Gaza, right? Now, when people say that this was an unprovoked attack, it ignores the tumultuous history of Israel and Palestine. It ignores the bloodbath that was the creation of the nation-state of Israel, in which 750,000 Palestinians were violently expelled from their homes, right? And the rest of them who were left behind were basically turned into third-class citizens on their own ancestral lands. Now, extremist movements do not simply pop out of nowhere, yeah? Hamas did not simply come out of a vacuum. Hamas, in other words, is the end product of over 60 years of frustration and anger on the part of the Palestinian people. You say the Palestinians voted for Hamas, right? And so that makes them unreasonable anti-Semitic terrorists. But if you were in the shoes of the Palestinians, basically treated like cattle, basically, kept in an open-air prison, basically treated like third-class citizens on your own ancestral land, and the whole world ignores your plight, and the only person that you can actually turn to, that you believe is strong enough to fight for you, is Hamas. I ask you, who would you vote for, right? The thing is, I want you to picture this scenario. Let us use a scenario of a lawless country, for example. A lawless, anarchistic country, right? Where the powerful bully the weak and the big fish eat the small fish, so to speak, right? Now, in this lawless anarchy, you are being bullied by a gangster, right? And the gangster is unfortunately in cahoots with the police, because the police and the gangster go back a long way. So the police are not going to do anything, right? So, another bigger gangster, a more ruthless gangster, a more brutal gangster, comes around and says that if you give him protection money, you support his gang, he will protect you, right? And because the police are not going to do anything about it, that the whole country is, your plight basically falls on deaf ears in the whole country, and nobody will take your side because they're afraid of the gangster that's bullying you. And the only people who seem to be able to protect you are the gangsters, the bigger, more thuggish gangsters, right? Who will you turn to, right? Who will you turn to? So if anyone is to blame for the creation of Hamas, for the fact that Hamas enjoys popular support among the people of Gaza, perhaps you should blame the apartheid regime of Israel, the apartheid Likud regime, whose members have literally talked about beheading its Arab citizens, whose members basically say things like Hitler didn't want to kill the Jews, but it was an Arab who put that idea into Hitler's head, right? Whose members on a daily basis dehumanize and orientalize the people of the West Bank, who are undergoing a brutal and suppressive military occupation, right? Perhaps then you'll be able to understand why the people of Gaza may support Hamas. Then again, we don't even know for sure, right? Because nobody's actually done like a poll, basically, asking people for their honest opinions on the people, on the militants Hamas, right? At least, just because they voted for them, it doesn't necessarily mean that they actually like them in the first place, right? Like I said, if you're being bullied by a gangster and the police are not going to help you, well, and another gangster offers to help you, what are you going to do? Are you just going to let yourself be bullied, or are you going to throw your lot in with the bigger, more ruthless gangster, right? I ask you to consider this fact, right? So no, this attack by Hamas was indeed a war crime, but it is no doubt a symptom of over 60 years of brutalization, dehumanization, and oppression on the part of Israel to the Palestinians. And these attacks will continue to happen, They will continue to happen until Palestine is free from the river to the sea. And Palestinians, innocent Palestinians, who are hardly what you would describe as anti-Semitic terrorist commandos, are going to be the ones paying the price for this. It is not the leaders of Hamas who are going to be paying the price for this, yeah? Because the Israeli government is going to use this attack in order to manufacture consent for a brutal military invasion of Gaza, right? I bet Benjamin Netanyahu has just been waiting for something like this to happen, right? Because then the far right-wing Likud government will have legitimacy in the eyes of the world in order to carpet bomb and invade Gaza, causing 10 times the amount of collateral damage that happened 3 days ago, right? Because they will say that it is an act of self-defense, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that Hamas is doing this in the interest of self-defense, right? Hamas are an opportunistic group of psychopaths, right? But at the same time, what's happening is basically when Israel strikes back, when Israel launches a brutal military invasion, killing thousands of Palestinian people and bombing it to the ground, this cannot be called self-defense either. Because fundamentally, Israel is still occupying the West Bank, and Israel is still controlling the flow of goods into Gaza, yeah? Israel is literally starving the people of Gaza as we speak, right? Starving them and basically preventing necessary supplies, including food and medical supplies, from entering Gaza, right? Collectively punishing the people of Gaza for the crimes of their leadership. Their leadership, who were elected because the people felt that they were backed into a corner with no one else to turn to, right? The people who will suffer the most out of this are the common people of Gaza. So no, while my heart bleeds for the innocent people who were killed by the Hamas militants, the fact of the matter is that this is only a sliver of what the Palestinians have been enduring for the past 70 years, right? Perhaps now, people who are die-hard Israel supporters will understand how the Palestinians feel, right? I once had a student from Palestine, right? When I held a moment of silence for victims of the Paris nightclub attack, do you know what my student said? He said, "Why are you only holding a victim of silence now, right? What about for my people? Because if you were to do the same for my people, you would be holding moments of silence every single day, right?" Okay, thank you very much and have a lovely day. And remember, guys, the colonizer basically has no right to claim self-defense, yeah? And while, non-combatants who are members of the colonizer group will end up getting killed or injured as a result of their own leadership's irresponsible actions, the fact of the matter is that it is still Israel, in the end, that is occupying Palestine. It is still the Palestinians who have been cast out of their own ancestral homelands and whose, basically, it is Israel who holds the lion's share of the power in this dynamic, right? Thank you very much. Have a good day.